What if I told you that a single piece of chalk could build dreams, shape futures, and even send someone to space? This is the story of a teacher who had almost nothing, but gave everything. In a small town in Kansas called Ross, there was a school that most people forgot. The building was old. The walls were cracked. The desks were worn. And inside the classrooms, there wasn't even a proper blackboard. When Emily arrived as a young teacher, the principal looked at her with an apologetic smile. "We don't have much funding," he said quietly. "You'll have to save chalk. Even that is limited." Many people would have left. Many would have complained. But Emily didn't. Instead, she walked into her classroom, looked at her students, and saw something deeper. She saw curiosity. She saw potential. She saw dreams that had not yet been born. The children in that classroom had never seen the world beyond their town. Some of them didn't even know what the ocean looked like. To them, the world was small, too small. Emily had no textbooks, no projector, no technology. Just a small box of chalk. So she made a decision. If her students couldn't go out to see the world, she would bring the world to them. The next day, she stood in front of the broken board and began to draw. First, she drew the ocean, wide, endless, blue. She described the waves crashing, the sound of the wind, the smell of salt in the air. The children stared in silence. Then she drew mountains. Tall, powerful, touching the sky. Then pyramids, ancient, mysterious, standing in the desert. Then astronauts, floating in space. Day after day, Emily used that chalk to open a window to the world. Her sleeves were always covered in chalk dust. Her hands were white with powder, but she never brushed it off. She would smile and say, "This is not dust. This is my metal." Because she believed something simple, yet powerful. Success is built in small steps, and every drawing was one small step for her students. But among all the children, there was one boy who sat quietly in the back. His name was Tommy. Tommy never raised his hand, never spoke, never smiled. His father was in prison. His mother worked late nights at a bar. Life had already taught him silence. But Emily noticed something. Every day, while others listened, Tommy would draw in his notebook. One day, she walked over and looked. It was a spaceship. Not perfect, not detailed, but full of imagination. Many people would have laughed, but Emily didn't. Instead, she turned to the board and began to draw again. Slowly, carefully. She drew a giant rocket, bigger than anything she had ever drawn before. Then she looked at Tommy and said, "Do you know something? The people who build rockets once started just like you." Tommy looked up. For the first time, really looked. And something changed, because sometimes all a person needs is someone who believes in them. The moment you stop doubting yourself, your future begins to change. From that day on, Tommy started raising his hand, started asking questions, started dreaming bigger. Years passed, Emily continued teaching. Still using chalk, still drawing the world, students came and went. Some became doctors, some became lawyers, some became engineers. Emily never asked for recognition, never expected anything in return. Because for her, teaching was not about giving information. It was about lighting a fire. The greatest teachers don't give answers. They create believers. 20 years later, Emily retired. The school was still simple, still old. But something was different. The students she had taught came back. One by one, they stood up and spoke. "Because of you, I became a doctor. You showed me I could be more. You changed my life." Emily listened, her eyes full of tears. Then, one last man stood up, tall, confident, calm. It was Tommy. But he was no longer the quiet boy in the back row. He was now a NASA aerospace engineer. He walked slowly to the front of the room, the same room where he once sat in silence. From his pocket, he took out a small box. Inside was a piece of chalk. He placed it gently into Emily's hands and said, "Teacher, you once told me that a piece of chalk could draw the whole world. Today, I build rockets. Because you helped me see it. And now, I want to take you to the places you once drew." Emily couldn't speak. Tears rolled down her face. Because in that moment, she realized something. She didn't just teach lessons, she changed lives. And that piece of chalk, she never finished using it. Because its impact never ended. Sometimes, we think we need more resources, more tools, more perfect conditions. But the truth is, sometimes the greatest power comes from the simplest things. A piece of chalk, a kind word, a moment of belief. These small things can create something bigger than we ever imagine. Because the true purpose of education is not to fill minds, it is to light hearts. And once a heart is lit, there is no limit to where it can go. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Because your support helps share more stories that can change lives. And remember, you may not have everything, but what you have might be enough to change someone's world.